Hey guys, and welcome to Lift Talk. This is episode 60, and we were lucky enough to have Shania Radke in the booth today with Claudia and I to talk about women in powerlifting. Really interesting topic, something that we don't hear a lot about, talking about both of their journeys getting into the sport and also getting into the male-dominated industry of coaching powerlifting. So hope you enjoy.
If you want me to punch you, I can do that.
I've had a couple of experiences in commercial gyms, and I know my own clients have as well.
Can you edit that out, Joel?
And gave me like a verbal warning and like was like waving around the fucking rule book and stuff.
So we're supposed to have Kelvin on with Claudia and I, and Shania was here today. So I was like, you know what?
I am Kelvin 2.0.
We're gonna piss Kelvin off, and Shania can sub in, and we'll do an episode with Shania while she's here. Because I always like to get guests from interstate, but it's hard to get, people.
And you only like in
schedules
person.
line
Your
up.
setup is in person. So
In person,
you got to
gotta be here.
capitalize.
How good is this face-to-face
Yeah.
conversation? It's not the same online.
I can say like obviously I do on with Dak and that
Yeah.
like we love doing that, but like this is a good vibe face to face for sure.
Like I did a podcast yesterday, and it was pretty awkward.
You did the one with JP, right?
I did that
SBD
last
Cup.
week. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
JP's an exception.
That was good because
Okay.
JP, but there was a lag and like it just
Yeah.
didn't flow,
Yep.
Anyway, so we've brought Shania in. So for anyone who doesn't know Shania, powerlifting coach, very high level powerlifter, here coaching her partner Sam at SBD Cup in 2 days, which will be awesome. Hopefully see a ginormous deadlift loaded up. But before we get into the actual topic for today, you got a hot take.
I have a hot take.
Let's go.
My hot take is your RP6 shouldn't be easy. And Hazy just rolled his eyes when I said RP6.
I was thinking.
Did you think it was going
I
somewhere
went straight
else?
to thinking. I did. Yeah. I did.
Yeah. I truly, your RP6 shouldn't be easy. I think if you send a video to your coach saying RP6 felt really easy, felt good, not a true RP6. It's probably RP1, 2, 3 on the scale of how hard you actually should be pushing.
Okay. So first of all, do we actually think that this is a hot take?
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
too.
think it's a hot take.
You think it's hot?
I think, yeah. Do you know, like, how many people do you think actually genuinely see RP6 on their program if it's written and they're like, oh, this is easy, like, done, tick the box?
Yeah, I think that's actually
Hands down.
That's actually very common. Like
Yeah.
people see a 6 and then like they kind of take the piss with it.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, especially because, like, you can hit an RP6, know that you genuinely, if we're talking the whole RP scale of you have 4 left in the tank, blah, 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 and that can still be fucking hard.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you can,
100%.
well, are you allowed to swear
Yeah,
on this
of
podcast?
course, of course.
I swear on mine, so I thought I'd double check.
Yeah, no, of course.
But that is, and I think it's a hot take in the sense that either coaches can program it for that block periodization standpoint of like easy 5, 6, hard 7, 8, 9. And then I think that feeds into athletes or clients' mentality around what an RPE6 is.
I definitely think that lifters, when they have a program that's kind of set up with ascending RPE across a block, like week 1's at 6, at 7, at 8, at 9 in week 4, I definitely think most people actually do like RPE 2 in week 1.
Yep.
And then like when they're supposed to do RPE 8 in week 4, they do 10.
Yeah.
So like
Yep.
they take huge jumps across the block. Like they jump 15, 20 kilos across the weeks when really they should be jumping like 5 to 7.
And you can see that because like week 1 and week 2, you'll notice like a difference in like how easy the set does look. And then like week 3 and week 4 and week 5, it's like, they have 0 kilos left in the tank. Like they've literally just hit a ceiling, like
100%.
they've hit the wall.
And I think people like, not only do they like back off on load by a lot, excuse my testy pop, they, can you edit that out, Joel? Not only do they back off on load by like way too much, but they also like go in with like nonchalance and they like, they just cruise into it. They don't do their usual like sort of assertive setup. They just take the
Less
foot off the gas.
intention with it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yep.
100%. And like less attention to detail during their warm-ups and like maybe less planning around like their food and nutrition and sleep
Yep.
leading into it. And then it all just ends up in like, this big like RP6 is easy.
Yep. And if we're talking in terms of like programming being from a stimulus standpoint, like everything that you do, no matter what week you are in a block, it should be heavy enough to elicit enough stimulus for you to then create strength adaptations from. And an RPE 6 should be hard enough that you can still have a little bit more load added to the bar week to week, but it shouldn't be that it's a plus 80 kilo jump by the time you hit week 4 or week 5.
And I think that's probably why, like, I know I do, and I know Alex, for a lot of his clients, like, we do a lot of prescribed loads. And that doesn't mean like no RPE work whatsoever, but some of the time it's just better off, or even giving a range.
Yep. Or prescribed load with an RPE.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like this is something
Cap
that like we
X.
kind of want to see. Like if you hit the prescribed load and it's either really easy, then sure, go up a little bit more and hit the prescribed RPE, or vice versa, you know? Like if you're warming up and then you're already kind of like, oh, I'm above this RPE, then call it at what you know is truly that RPE, I think.
And particularly for like newer lifters, right? Where they don't have as good of a gauge of RPE, which is normal.
Yep.
That is probably a better strategy to use programming wise.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I actually agree. Like, that's why I asked at the start, like, is this actually a hot take? Like, I don't think it's that hot when you actually think about it, because like the number of times where I will do a set and I'll be like, oh, that's pretty hard. And then I watch the video back and then I'm like, oh, that's probably like a 6.
Yep.
And I send it to my coach and I'm like, oh yeah, this set was reasonably hard, but realistically it was probably only a 6.
Yep.
Whereas like I think a lot of people would, if they were prescribed a 6, would end up doing something that is way, way, way easier.
Yep. I agree.
But also, Alex, you've got like 10 plus years under your belt.
Yeah, and I'm still shit.
Shit.
R.I.P.
He's waiting to masters. Give him
I'm
7
actually
years.
just, I'm actually
years
just,
ago,
I'm
guys.
actually just counting down the clock. Like, I'm just
2032.
I'm counting down the days. You go like 6 years.
Oh, is that the year?
2032.
6 years
Masters
and 2 months.
Worlds, Alex Hayes.
6 years
Alex
and 2
Hayes
months.
comes out and hits his peak.
Yeah, that's it. I'm ready for it.
I'll still be here for it.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into the actual meat and potatoes of the episode today. We didn't have a topic until like 10 minutes ago, but we're going to talk about women in powerlifting and talk about you two and your experiences coming into a definitely male-dominated field, and what that experience has been like. Because I don't really think that this topic ever really gets spoken about a lot. I think like most podcasts are hosted by dudes. Most dudes just get their mates on, and we don't really hear from women a lot, which is why I love your podcast, Shania.
I'm just thinking about Shay's spooky season
Yeah.
post. Keep
What
going.
was it? I don't know if I saw it.
She did like a spooky season bloody slide across post.
Oh, was it the haunted house one?
Yeah.
The haunted house
okay,
one. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
It's a haunted house, but it's just male powerlifter podcasters having what
Haunted
was it?
house, except it's full of male podcasters and all their guests, in quotation marks, other men and one woman for quota.
Well, I'm outnumbered today, so
You are. That's why we got rid of Kelvin.
Define
yeah, that's
the
it.
odds.
That's it. It would have been silly if we got rid of Claudia and we
Yeah.
were like, Shania, tell us what it's like to be a woman.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that this gets spoken about a lot, and I think it's like kind of the elephant in the room a little bit. So I wanted to kind of get into that. But first, before we do that, tell me your story about when you started training, because I don't actually know if I've heard your like origin story.
Origin story. I like that.
Tell me about like what got you into the gym in the first place.
Yep.
What it was like when you got into the gym being a female, and like, you know, whether you felt like you fit in or whether it was intimidating space to be in, and then talk me through what that led into in terms of like getting into strength training and powerlifting.
Yep, cool. When I was younger, like I was always a sporty kid. So I played like basketball all the way from like basically 8 years old under 10s all the way through to like the year that COVID hit, basically. So when COVID hit, that was pretty much when I started powerlifting. But while doing sports, like I didn't really train a lot, like not kind of like men and rugby and like you have the strength training that like helps with it. I was definitely just more of like, get me in a team sport, like super competitive, just really enjoyed that. When I started working for Lululemon, they have like a kind of like a program there for the staff where like you do a group fitness class or a class at any sort of gym, you build the community, they pay for it basically. So that's how I kind of got into then doing actual gym style training, was just through Lulu, and just doing random stuff. So there was like zero structure to it. It was kind of just like F45 here or like a body fit there and whatnot.
Were they in like in gyms, like in commercial gyms?
Not really in commercial gyms, but more just like your group fitness setting kind of classes
Got
or
it.
like yoga studios. So
Like your boutique.
yeah. So the goal was to like, for us, it was like get there, like build a community, talk about the product you wear, try and get them to come into you, like open up a funnel for like employees to kind of come in and that sort of like community building aspect.
Yeah.
Lululemon Off Track was like a pretty cool company to work for. Like they probably taught me a lot about like how to have like hard conversations and like keep emotions out of it and like very like high professionalism, which is like something I've carried along all the way through. But then when I was sort of like starting to get into like actual gym training was when I was like in high school. And I went to a new school that was like a private school and they were like very sport based compared to like my public school. But I was also very like body self-conscious. So I'd gone through like a disordered eating sort of like journey, I guess. And I'd lost a lot of weight. So I think from memory, I was very close to around like 83, 84 when I was like starting high school. And I dropped all the way down to like 45, 47 in like a really short time frame. Yeah. So I had like a lot of,
For context, you're like what, 5'6", 5'7"?
I'm like, yeah, like 170
Yeah,
centimeters. So yeah.
5'7", yeah.
So I lost a lot of weight in a very short time frame. And just a lot of health issues. Like I remember like having episodes of like passing out and like stuff like that. And in my head, I was like, it doesn't matter, you know, like, but my parents, obviously they were very heavily concerned. And that's what sparked it. So I was like, to my mom, she sort of like, we set a challenge. Like I'm very competitive. So I view everything as a challenge. And she was kind of like, if you don't like put on weight essentially by this time frame and you're not like sort of deemed healthy in terms of like the medical field, then like we're going to like the hospital essentially. And I was like, done. Like I'll beat you to that challenge. So I basically said, get me to a gym. I did one session, like that free trial session with the PT, and I fell in love with training from then onwards. And she was a massive mentor for me, like my first personal trainer. Yeah.
So just to rewind a tiny bit, what do you think led to that disordered eating and wanting to be smaller? Was that like media driven or like what led to that?
I think it was a mixture of both. One, media driven. Like for me at that age, you maybe might be aware of it, Claudia, but it was like your Kayla It Signs and like the Bikini Body program and that kind of stuff. And I did cardio. Like I used to long distance run to be smaller because I was like, this is how you do it. You know, like you run to be smaller and look a different way, and not different from a sense of building muscle.
So
like
you hadn't gotten into the gym when you lost all the weight yet? Like you hadn't trained
Not yet.
You
No.
were just
Yep.
at Lulu yet?
Yeah. And then I think the other part of it was going or transitioning from like, I guess kind of like that primary school to high school. And you were like, I was like, oh shit, like I'm around different body shapes, different body sizes, different people. I'm in a massive school now. Like you see
Were
so
you in
many
an all-girl
different
school or co-ed?
co-ed to start with.
And
So
then
it was
you
like male,
moved-
female.
Okay.
Yep. So it was like just a bit of a shock for me. I was like, oh, like I look so different to everybody else. Like how can I kind of make myself sort of change and what's the fastest, easiest way to do that? My parents as well, like they are split. They've always been split. So there was definitely probably a small aspect of like controlling the food as well from the nutrition standpoint. Obviously like I could control it. Like I was getting older. I could say, no, I don't want that. I'm going to eat my own dinner. Like all those little things that as you get older, you start to do.
And when your life feels out of control, it's nice to feel in control of something.
Or something. Yep. Yeah,
It's
pretty
usually
much.
a coping mechanism for something else.
Yeah. And my parents knew nothing about food. Neither of them have ever trained. Like they've never really stepped foot in a gym. Like, so I had no sort of role models in that space either. So I was it wasn't until I got into the gym when I would have been 15. And I did that first session that my current PT or my first PT, not current, she was like my mentor. And I was like, I can learn a lot from you. And that's pretty much what started and sparked like strength training. I did boxing and like just like HIIT classes for like the cardio style. I just did a mixture of like different styles of training all the way through high school. And then it became like that mental health. Like I can see the benefits from this. Like I'm stressed with school, but like I'm still going to go train because I feel really good from training. And then I really started to understand like in order to train and to get stronger and feel like I'm getting stronger, okay, now I have to like fuel myself properly. And it just kind of like compounded and just like that domino effect of like, cool, I'm getting stronger, let's keep eating. I'm getting stronger, let's keep eating. And that was kind of just the process.
Yeah, and you find something that you love and that you enjoy doing.
Yep.
And then you want to figure out how you can do that better. And then you go down this rabbit hole. I remember I did this when I first started training. It was like, oh, like, I, do a few curls and my arms look better. And I'm like, fuck, how can I actually accelerate this process and like
By
improve
eating
it? And then it's
food.
like,
Whoa.
oh, cool. Then there's this whole nutrition side, and there's this whole other side, and there's like, oh, then there's this programming side, and then you kind of just keep going down the weeds.
Yep, pretty much.
So for you, when you got into the gym, was that like an intimidating environment for you when you walked in there? Because I can't imagine you being how I know you, being how you are, ever being intimidated by anyone.
I feel like I like hit conflict like head on.
Yeah,
you know what I
literally.
mean? Like, when I first stepped foot when I was like that 15, 16 years old, I think I just like didn't really care about anybody else truly. And like I was doing a lot of my sessions with the PT at the time. So I was either with her or doing like group fitness stuff. I got my sister Caitlin into it as well. Like she joined after I joined too. So we kind of went together a lot of the times. Once I kind of transitioned to doing less work with that PT and then going to more like your Good Lifes and like just commercial gyms, similar thing, like I just saw it as a challenge. Like there was definitely a level of like some days, I was like, oh, this is kind of scary. Like I'm going into like a commercial gym. And I remember I would go to Good Life in Newstead where we are, and it's like steroided up men, like no tomorrow. And I would just like force myself to be like, don't externally show that you're intimidated or nervous, and like just train. And so I would literally just like walk to the free weights. I would like take up space. I would use a bench. I would just kind of like not fake it till you make it, like that confidence of like, if you expel confidence, like people are not going to feel like they can just like step all over you truly.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Do you either of you guys have advice for any women maybe listening to this podcast who are intimidated walking into a gym environment? What would you say to those women?
I feel like knowledge is power, or like if you educate yourself, whether that be through another mentor or just educating yourself, that then gives you confidence going into the gym because you feel like you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so people can't really tell you otherwise. But also find a friend, find someone to go with for the first time. And yeah, like Shania was saying, fake it till you make it. Like no one goes into a gym for the first time being like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm the, best person here. I don't really care what anyone else is doing. Like the more that you face that fear of going, the less scary it will be. And sometimes you just kind of need to take a little bit of a leap to start, and then it pays off in the long run.
Yeah. I agree.
Two things come to mind for me is like, the first one is essentially what you did, Shania, which is you had like a buffer, which was your PT, which is like sort of like introducing you into that space and like sort of, I guess making you feel comfortable in that new environment by showing you how to exercise properly, showing you like how a session runs so then you could go and do one on your own. So I think that's like a big barrier that people face when they go to a gym is they don't have a program to follow. They don't know what all these machines are. They don't know how to use free weights. And then they end up kind of like walking around aimlessly, but also not confident enough to actually go and do something. But then they just don't end up doing anything productive.
Yeah. I mean, like in the 10 years that I've trained, like 2015 through to now, like in some form, I've always had a coach or a program. I've never not had a period of time in my life where I haven't worked with somebody. And I think that like, obviously not everyone can either afford a one-on-one coach, but if you can like get a template program, if you can start somewhere that's just like simple, that you walk in at least knowing you're like, hey, this is what I'm doing today. These are the movements that I have on. Like you're already going to feel so much more confident being in that space from the get-go. And then like really like for us, knowledge is power from a sense of also just knowing that everyone does move differently to the point where like, I would say no one is judging you from that perspective, because like how all three of us squat is all very, very different. Like how all three of us bench is all very, very different, So I think as long as you have like the foundations like underneath you, like go in there and just like continue to work through like your fear of being in that space.
Yeah. I think the other thing is that people think that everyone is looking at them, but no one is caring about anyone except themselves, especially in the commercial gym context. Like they don't even know who's sitting next to them on the next bench. Like they are so concerned with what they are doing, looking at themselves in the mirror.
I was about to say,
thinking about their own
are
training.
too busy fucking watching themselves bicep curl to be watching what you're doing next to them.
Like it's actually so true. Like you may think it's the most intimidating place in the world. All these like jacked people, like who clearly know what they're doing. they don't even notice. They won't even notice someone new walking in. They won't be watching you. If you fuck something up, they won't notice. I think that's important to recognize, that you may feel like you have lots of eyes on you, but they're not really on you.
And if you have like the 1% come up to you, which I don't know if either of you have had any experiences with people coming up to you, particularly earlier on in your experience.
No, I feel I have too much of a resting bitch face.
I've had a couple of experiences in commercial gyms, and I know my own clients have as well.
Yeah.
You get that 1% that just really want to come and tell you how they think you should be doing it, particularly in the powerlifting space, where we kind of understand technique is so variable, depending on leverages. It's not super textbook, which is what some people from slightly outdated kind of ways of thinking or older PTs that haven't updated their thinking may be stuck in. But yeah, I've had a PT at a Fitness First come up to me and be like, "You're not supposed to arch like that." And I know that sounds like super, what do you call it? Like stereotypical, but I actually had someone come up to me and say that. And I was just like, I'm actually a physio, bro.
Like,
like, thanks.
Maybe you should be arching, bro.
Yeah.
How's your shoulders feeling?
Again, like depending on like the commercial gyms in Sydney, but like I know in Brisbane, a lot of the commercial gyms now actually have like a powerlifting space. Like they have like a small subsection where they're starting to get like power bars and like calibrated plates as well, which I think if we're talking powerlifting specific, like obviously that's so much more welcoming as well for like newer lifters. And at the end of the day, like we all started somewhere too. And I think where you can definitely have that mentality of like everyone started at the bottom and like we all started with zero experience. Like everyone probably has felt the same way the first time they've walked into a commercial gym. So I think we all have that understanding. If we do see a new person in the gym, like we're not there to judge. It's like, oh, you know, I remember when I was that person, like coming into the session for my first time as well.
Yeah. I remember similar to your story, Claudia, I actually used to work at a Fitness First and I was like PTing there and I was just squatting one day. And this member who would have been in his 60s, he would have been like 65, this 65-year-old man who definitely couldn't squat 40 kilos, came up to me and he was like, "Hey, do you know that your knees are coming together a little bit when you squat?" And I remember at the time being like so pissed off that this guy would like have the nerve to talk to me, because I obviously at that point thought I knew everything. And now I just laugh at it because it's like, yeah, it's just, you just don't know any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think if you can like, not that it's easy to not take things like personally, but if you can just like laugh at it and be like, cool.
Oh, I can now, but definitely not then.
Back then, no. Yeah. Like everyone just wants to have like an opinion on something, right? Like that's the biggest thing as well.
But I think that's where knowledge is power, right? Like if you know that I come from a physio background. If you know that there's no one single right way to move and no wrong way to move, it's purely like your risk of injury is purely like an overload kind of thing. No matter what you're doing, as long as you're not jumping 100 kilos from doing zero,
yes,
you're not going to actually injure yourself. So if you think otherwise, then go look at the recent evidence.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, so both of you guys actually have pretty similar stories, like being underweight and getting into the gym to kind of like build yourselves up. How did that sort of process getting into the gym evolve into finding powerlifting? We'll start with you, Claude.
Finding powerlifting. Well, I started when I was quite underweight, which is a similar story to Shania. And then I realized post high school, because I went to an all-girls school, and we didn't even have a gym at my school. We had treadmills, and we had a run club. And country, cross country. Yeah, that was it. So I only really knew, okay, girls run and play sport. That's it.
Yep.
Even
so it's actually so true.
It's bad because like we had like, you know, elite sports teams that would go and be competitive, and we didn't even have strength training programs for them, which now just blows my mind.
And the funny thing about that, or maybe the sad thing about that, is that all the teams that you would be playing against wouldn't have had that either.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I went to a co-ed private school, similar to you, except we had boys and girls in the same year. And our rugby team had to lift weights. Basketball team, we did some lifting, like a little bit. The rowing team did lifting, but all of the girls teams did running.
And I hate running.
And it's like looking back on it, I didn't think anything of it at the time because it's just kind of all you know. Yeah. But looking back on it, that's just what the culture was, and probably like still is.
So yeah, that was kind of my background, and then getting into powerlifting. I had started going to the gym because I'd been learning about like, oh, muscle growth in physio. It stops all this like bad disease stuff from happening. And then I started to realize like going to the gym and like getting a pump, that's kind of fun. It redirected my focus from being smaller to taking up space.
Yep.
And it really like empowered me. I felt like confident, and I had a new goal in mind. And like you, like I've always been a goal challenge person.
Yep.
And so to have something to focus on like that was really healthy for me at that time. And it was similar like COVID period.
Yep.
Where everything was kind of out of control. And it was just something to focus on. And so, then I was, strength training in the gym. And then I was like, wait, I really like doing one really heavy lift. I really want to
maxing out.
I really like maxing out. How do I?
Such a junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I would see some of these people on Instagram, like these girls. I remember it coming up on my like For You page, like lifting heavy stuff. And I was like, wait, I want to be the strongest version of me.
Yeah.
Like how do I do that? And that's when I started getting coached by Alex's wife, Chrissy.
Hey, twins.
Yeah.
Chrissy was my first powerlifting coach.
No
way. Yeah.
Whoa.
Would have been at the same.
Small
Would have been
world.
at the same time
person?
too.
Yeah.
Would have been at the same time as well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because
2020.
2020. Yeah, 2020 during COVID. That's so random.
Maybe we were like on one of the calls together one
Probably.
time and we just didn't know
We
each
just
other.
didn't know who each other were.
This is so crazy.
Honestly,
In our own world.
Get Chrissy in here too.
That's
Yeah,
wild.
Alex, we don't
maybe
need
she
you.
should be hosting.
Yeah. Where is Chrissy?
What about you, Shania? How do you go from sort of just like doing PT sessions and group fitness classes to finding powerlifting?
Yeah, so during COVID, I was a coach through Lululemon. I then became a coach at FitStop. So I was just doing like group fitness classes at the same time. And then when everything sort of shut down, we had access to like obviously bars, plates. And one of the members was like offering like wielding squat racks together, basically. Like he was like making them for us. So he gave one to each of us trainers, and I had it in a garage in a space, and I had like no program to follow. Like I had no structure. And I'm pretty sure I followed Chrissy for a very long time prior to that. And I was always just inspired by her content. Like she was like watching how strong she was. Like I remember like back then when I hit, I think it was like the 135 at that Paragon comp, I was like, I really want to squat 140 like Chrissy. Like I think she squatted like 142 or 145.
She did 140, yeah.
Something like that. And like she had been pushing for that for ages. And that was like my thought process. I was like, I just can't wait until I do that.
I remember watching your first comp. I actually remember that squat.
Yeah.
I remember where I was standing.
Yeah. So, so like when I had access to the equipment, I was like, do something with it basically. So I just like, I messaged Chrissy and I was like, hey, I really want to do like online coaching. I want to get into powerlifting. That was pretty much how it started. There probably wasn't really a lot. I didn't know if I was going to like it because I hadn't really tried it yet. And I was just like, just get in, start something, see if you like it, see where it goes. And then like the progression from that was like, okay, like this is fucking sick, because it's just like the mentality of like, how can I improve? How can I be better? How can I push my own limits, like physically and mentally, obviously then coupled with, at that time I had done a nutrition study. So I was kind of doing my own nutrition. I'm pretty sure I also did nutrition with Chrissy as well for a period of time through the coaching. So that all just the domino effect really for me. It was just like, okay, now I'm getting stronger. My total's building, like I'm lifting more each kind of comp or each training block or things like that. And I just kind of fell in love with that process of just like constant improvement.
I think that's like the best part of the sport, right? Is that the ceiling is the one that you set for yourself.
Yeah.
It's one of those sports where it's like, you never know if you don't keep trying.
Yeah. And there's
Like-
no like, I don't ever really feel like I've put like I need to hit this total at this time or this comp pressure on myself, because it's like, it's not about like winning nationals and then going to worlds and then my career being done, like that's not what it's about for me. So I've never been one to have that pressure. It's like, as long as I know that I've put in the work, and that work is going to achieve a certain outcome that is me getting stronger for my last comp, whether it's 5, 10, 2.5 kilos. Like that's my priority as a powerlifter.
Or whether
Like,
you even go
there's no
backwards and then
timeline.
go back up.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah,
Like, did you
yeah.
see Shay's post the other day?
Yeah,
That was like
100%.
she literally went backwards between comps, but still over the period of 10
10 years, yeah.
she's put a huge amount on her total.
Yep.
So what do you think is, this is unrelated, this is a completely unrelated topic, but what do you think is standard of me having a fucking sidebar? What do you think you're more proud of when you look back at the work that you've done? Is it the effort that you put in, or is it the actual results that you've gotten?
Oh, mine would definitely be like the effort and the consistency and like not giving up. Because obviously, like, I mean, especially back when I first chose to start training, strength training, like it could have been very easy to be like, nah, too hard. And like just ended up in hospital, and that being the process of like healing myself or getting better. But like choosing that harder pathway of like, you're going to have to work hard to do this. You're going to have to prove to your parents that you can reach a healthy point and create a healthy relationship with food and training for the rest of your life. That ultimately for me is like, it could have gone one of two ways, and then I chose the harder pathway essentially.
Yeah. I think in a sport like powerlifting, where it is so objective and people from the outside looking in only see the number on your open powerlifting, they only see the total. It can be quite hard to not put heaps of stock in the outcome, but I think the longer that you get into it, and I've certainly found this myself, the more and more that I train, the less I actually care about what the outcome is, and the more I care about just like all the inputs. And I look back on my training career and my history of training, and I'm much more proud of what it has taken to get me where I am than where I am.
Well, you learn so much, right? Like what we do day in, day out, like that is building resiliency, or that is like helping you from a mental health standpoint. Like it's giving you the space to have time away from like your kids to then go back and spend quality time with them. Like it's your time away where you can have a sense of like fulfillment and achievement within yourself, right? Which ultimately helps you to be a better person, a better partner, a better dad, a better mom, whatever it might be, sister, you know. I think that's the difference. And when you have an outcome, or you get an outcome from a comp, the outcome is ultimately made up of many different inputs, many different memories, many different moments throughout that entire time, right? Like you live so many more moments throughout the period from X to Y than just one outcome goal. Like what matters most, right? Seeing one number or having one outcome, or the 10,000 different things that you learn or experience throughout that period.
Yeah. And the other thing is we can't really control the exact outcome.
Yeah.
Like
you never will.
You can do all the work in the world and say, you know, this program is going to yield X result, but you don't actually have any control over what that result is, but you do have control over the inputs.
Yep.
And I think like when you realize that, it just makes the process so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to hear both of your experiences sort of like at your first powerlifting comps. Were you like one of few women? Was it like dominated by dudes? How did that feel to be like in the minority? And like, how do you feel like that has changed now that you're experienced and you've done heaps of comps?
You go.
Well, my first comp was at BNB in Brisbane with Dave Napper. So that in itself probably says enough about the experience. Hopefully that's all right that I said that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. We got the thumbs up.
And it was like, obviously Chrissy was online, and I know she didn't travel for that, and I handled myself at that first comp as well. So I was sort of just like in my own world.
The deep end.
Yeah, I was in the deep end. Like literally, I knew nobody at the comp. I didn't know a single other person. I'd made like a few other sort of friends in the moment, like other sort of female lifters, but it was very heavily like, male dominated.
Do you know what the ratio was?
Oh, it would have been like 80-20.
Yeah.
Like even in terms of like volunteers, I'm pretty sure every single volunteer, spotter and loader, was male. I don't think there was a single female from memory. My sister came, she watched in the crowd, and that was pretty much like my very first comp. When I think about it like now, and obviously how far it's gone now, like obviously we have a lot more women in the sport, especially like APA. I would even say like APU was still very male dominated. I think also just like that environment, like unless again you were a very headstrong female, you probably just sat back and didn't say a lot because of the repercussions. Or, I mean, I remember vividly at APU, the 2022 Nats on the Gold Coast. Like, were you there? You were there. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh God.
The morning of
I got stories.
The morning of the last session, they decided to kick up a stink about like Perth's like just crew socks, and they were saying you can't wear it because it's got the logo on it. But every other day it all been approved, and I just kicked off to Sean. Like I was like, oh, like I just find it really ironic that like you make this a rule on the last day when it's all been approved, like the last 2 days of competition. Like I just want to know like your thoughts on that. And he just like stared at me, and then apparently he went away because Marshall Ross was refereeing. Like that was like his last comp he refed. He said that all the refs got pulled into a room, yelled at for 30 minutes, and then got like dispersed. And then Sean came over to me and gave me like a verbal warning and like was like waving around the fucking rule book and stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you a couple of stories after we get off the recording.
But now I genuinely look at like all the females in APA and stuff, and I think like especially, you know, like your Nat and your Lucy's, like I think they're heading like a really powerful
and
space.
Vicky as well.
From Vicky, like a competitive, but like we also like back each other, like we're a team, like, you know, we still are friends.
Oh, you mean them two competing against one another?
Just like we're competitors, we're not enemies mindset.
Yeah.
Because I think with females, like it's hard to move on from that mentality of like we're against each other, because I think that's also just like the space for females, and it's very slowly changing. And we also have a lot more females now that obviously like are in like a space of just like being in charge of power, like having a voice, having influence, all those kinds of things too.
Yeah. What about you, Claude? How was your first comp experience?
Mine was at Alpha Athletes, and mine was actually pretty decent. Definitely like the quota was very much skewed towards more males. But yeah, I had a pretty positive experience, but like Shania was saying, like all the spotters and loaders were definitely men. And yeah, I was just in the smaller female class, just trying my best. That was about
I mean, you've even
it.
got like women now, like obviously getting like, if we talk from like an arousal standpoint, like we spoke while we were training on the gym floor, like I think women are also like showing their arousal a lot more. Like we're actually doing things to get aroused, and like we're showcasing that. Whereas I know when I was like sort of still upcoming in like competitions, like women didn't really do that a lot. It was like, you know, it was more of the men that were like sniffing the ammonia and getting back slaps and like headbutting each other. And you're kind of like in the corner just kind of like watching, you know, like, oh, are you really doing this right now? Like,
I think Claudia likes ammonia more than anyone in this gym.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
Except for me,
Alex.
actually.
Except for you.
Except for me. I think I'm probably still first.
It's kind of like a, what do you call it? A prerequisite to being part of the process. You have to
that's
like
right.
ammonia.
You
Otherwise,
have to like ammonia
gone.
in cap form as well.
and you have to be able to get a little like aroused for a third deadlift, at least at bare minimum.
At least.
Yeah, at least.
Like, please don't walk up to it with no grit at all.
100%. So you guys obviously started off just as powerlifting competitors, but both doing sort of general pop coaching as well, like at the same time. How did that then evolve into powerlifting coaching, and what was your experience like as a female powerlifting coach in a very male-dominated industry? You go first, Shania.
Fuck everyone. Nah. So when did I start? I think I got into powerlifting specific coaching. I want to say it was 2022. If I'm correct, that's when Performotion opened in Bowen Hills. Kelly, the space, I think. I can't even remember now. Maybe 2021.
I don't know. I've never been there.
Yeah, I can't remember now the date, but that was basically like the in for me. So I knew Dave and Jay Jordana. I went to primary school with Jordana, and then when we were just training in a world gym, I saw them. They were at Perth. They were like, come for a session, trained there. XYZ happened, started getting coached by Kelly, and then she basically just offered me a job at the same time, essentially. So she was just like, I'm opening a new space. Do you want to come across and be a coach? She was initially trying to get me into EP, but I don't like university. So I was like, I don't really want to study. Like, I don't really have the energy for that. So I would rather just be a powerlifting coach.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, I don't like it, off topic, because it's just like nothing is practical. Like, I'm like, why am I doing these equations when I can use a VBT machine as an example? Like,
Girl,
why am I learning
decision.
this?
I'm still $40,000 in hex debt.
Exactly. Yeah, I have no hex debt. So I'm clear.
So I did like, I restarted uni after like 4 or 5 years of coaching, I restarted uni and
Yeah.
did exercise science.
Yeah. So I was in that.
And
yeah.
I got like 3 semesters in and I was like, I haven't used a single thing
Yep.
that I've learned on a single one of my clients.
Yep.
Like, I'm just not going to continue with this.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So she offered me a job, and so I just be like, that was basically my in terms of like powerlifting coaching. I did a year there where I did like a little bit of face-to-face, like build online space. And then I basically approached her to do the nutrition side of things as well. I said, I think this will be really beneficial. I think it'll like, we'll get a lot for it. We have no sort of other service like that basically. And then obviously that sort of blew up. I think that as well as like the competing sort of got my name more out there. And then obviously launched Everstrong last year. So moved that on my own and just doing like my own thing now. So
and been crushing it since.
2 years on almost, which is crazy.
Woohoo.
But yeah. So that was pretty much like my transition. Like I never really had like when I first started powerlifting, especially with Chrissy, I was never like, oh yeah, I see myself like becoming a powerlifting coach. And then like at the time when Kelly offered me the job, I was like, cool, like might as well try it. Like there's no harm. So that was pretty much my in. Yeah.
So what was it like for you entering the industry as a female coach? I'm sure having Kelly there would have actually been helpful because she would have been going through similar stuff.
Yeah.
But like, what was it like navigating the industry with so many dudes running around and like not very many women?
I think I kind of saw it again as like a little bit of a challenge to be like, you can be someone really influential in this space. Like you can.
It's an
sort
opportunity.
Yeah, like it's an opportunity to be like, get more females in, create something that is like, you know, that more opening environment for females to kind of come in and like be a part of it. Obviously, like, you know, if you're intimidated and there's like a lot of like males in the space, like it can be hard to even want to come into that space. So I definitely saw it as that. Like my first sort of experience of like coaching at a competition was similar again. It was like, how many of my female clients can I get to do this just to like show them how much fun it is or like what the environment can be like, and create or paint a different picture for them of like, it can actually be like this. I think that was definitely like my headspace back then. And it still is, to be honest. Like I would say it still is now.
Did you find any like hesitation from potential male clients with having a female coach when you started? Was that something that you ever experienced?
I think there's a lot of like obviously online, I would say males probably assume that females are all feminine and they don't know how to be aggressive or have a little bit of an aggressive nature to work with male clients. I think that's just naturally the preconceived ideas. Male is masculine, women are feminine. So I would say like definitely yes. But then when I would handle clients for Kelly and or Steve, and we would like handle like more of their male clients, I think they would always be surprised by the fact that like as females, we can actually bring the energy. And if you want me to punch you, I can do that.
But
do you know
like,
what I mean? Like it's not until you're in person that they're like, oh, hold up. Like this is actually different to what I either assumed it was going to be.
I do think though, like even still currently, it is harder for female coaches to get male clients, particularly online.
I honestly
just
think
based
I
on
have
stigma.
like less than 5 males and the
Yeah.
rest is all females.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Like I don't really mind, to be
Yeah.
fair.
But
Like,
I think like
I think
it
that
shouldn't be
No, I think the attitude and the why is wrong because it is that preconceived like, oh, you're feminine, like you're a female, like you don't know how to be like masculine, or you don't know like what you can, like I don't think that you can give me what I want. Like it's that preconceived idea. That's like definitely not right. I remember at like Townsville States, like I was helping handle Sam, and I think he hit his 3rd squat, and it was a number that he'd been wanting to hit for ages. And he finished it, and like we ran at each other and we like jumped and chest bumped, and I went flying, obviously, because he's like, I think this was just before we were together as well.
Yeah.
And he sort of like, and everyone was watching and they were like, oh my God, like what just happened there? Because like they obviously wouldn't assume that like I would do like throw myself to like chest bump at like 120 kilo male, you know? So even
But,
little
like, why
things
not?
like that, like people
Yeah.
are like watching you being like, oh, it's a bit weird. Like what's kind of going on?
Well, I
you
feel
know?
like the way that, from what it seems like online, like the way that you and I kind of think in our own lifter mentality, I actually think would kind of attract slightly more masculine style-ish sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I literally cut 12% of my body weight. I'm very like, if shit needs to be done, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Like I'm not soft Would you say, Alex?
Definitely not.
Okay. Yeah. Not saying that feminine is soft, but it's like I cut the bullshit a little bit. Like I'm a bit more of like
Yes, just say it how it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think typically just based on stigma, that would actually be more applicable based on stigma towards more male clients.
But if I look at all of the females in Australia who do such a great job coaching, you guys, Shay, Kelly, Liz Craven, you guys are all the same in that respect. Like
Yeah.
you guys are all the opposite of soft, and
Yep.
you guys actually don't take no for an answer. Like hard as nails, way tougher than most of the male coaches, all way tougher than me.
Thanks, bro.
That's for sure. So like that, I guess, preconceived notion is just, I think it's actually dying a little bit. It's definitely not dead completely,
probably
but I
also
think
just-
I think we're getting somewhere.
I think it's dying, but I think from a job coach's perspective and clientele intake, that still hasn't shifted.
Yeah, and I think the problem there is that the leads come from people who are new, who aren't
Yes.
aware of the space and aren't aware of you guys and your personalities and what you can
Yep.
do and like how capable you all are. And it takes them getting into the system and like seeing how everything works to like get them on board with that.
I think it's also just like it's that people probably think that it's more accepted if a male is coached by a male. I think, and then like female, like for us, it's like it's okay if you're coached by female or male.
Yeah.
Whereas males, it's still like, oh, this is only socially acceptable if I'm coached by a male. Truly, that is what I believe still needs to change.
See, like I have a majority of my roster is males.
Yep.
And the majority of the leads that I get are males. And you guys both started with female coaches.
Yep.
So would you say that females are still probably more likely to be driven to start with a female, at least initially? Because I would say that's probably still the case.
I would say
Yeah.
though that like some of your best lifters are female as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like
but that's kind of what I'm saying is they came to me
After.
having
After.
already been
Yeah, okay.
started.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of them, actually, I think if I think back to all of them, like you had a female coach, Kate did.
Mm.
I think like, I'm not sure exactly who everyone else was
I
coached by.
definitely like
but
this might be going too deep in a sense of just like personality or like how you've kind of grown up. But like I'm gonna use Sam as an example. He won't mind. But he obviously has like an older sister. And like obviously I think in that space, when you have like probably maybe more like an older sister or a mentor, like potentially for him, like having been coached by Kelly for so long, he's also like a very soft personality. And Kelly's very like blunt to the point, like I can tell you what to do and like you're gonna do it, I think as well. So I feel like from a personality perspective, I think it is also, it's not just male to female or female to female. I think it's definitely your personality. For me, it was like I've never powerlifted before. Chrissy is someone I've watched online and I've always thought like I want to be as strong as her when I was first starting. So that's what attracted me to Chrissy. Now as I've kind of grown with more experience, I've found that I can be more objective with my training with a male coach, which is more of a me thing, not a female thing. I think when I'm with a female coach, I'm either like a little bit more emotional. I'm kind of just like, oh, like I don't want to say where, but like I'm more emotional.
Yes.
Like I just, female to female, you can be. I think we know that we can have that like a little bit more in-depth conversation about those kinds of things. But then if I think from like a nutrition standpoint for me, I actually went the opposite and I had a male nutrition coach first. And now I've gone to a female. And I feel like that's been the best change I've made just from like a female hormone perspective, the things that we do experience, like females do have more of an understanding. It can be taken more into account without it being like an excuse. I know like with having a male nutrition coach and a male powerlifting coach back at the very start, it was always just viewed as like, oh, it's just an excuse. Like, don't worry about it. Just toughen up. And it's like, well, no, like I'm just telling you because it's context. So I think there's definitely like, I think both your personality, I think like your lifestyle, your environment, like how you've kind of grown up in, that will always steer you towards probably like one coach over the other, whether that is then like sort of gender orientated as well.
And I think, you know, females coming into powerlifting obviously has grown pretty astronomically even over like the last 5 years, right? And if we're saying most female athletes are going to female coaches to start, and same with men, most early male lifters are going to male coaches. as the sport grows, hopefully as people stay in the sport for longer, because I mean, that's what we all hope and dream for, right?
Yep.
Then hopefully that dynamic will start to shift a little bit more, or not even shift, but just become slightly more flexible. Just because you'll have, you know, athletes with more maturity and experience to understand that, you know, it's more of a person by person base, not a female by male base.
Yeah, what does the person provide and what do you need? And does that match up
Yep.
as opposed to like, I'm a dude, I need a dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember when I started, so my first comp was like 11 years ago. Fuck, I'm old. And there were 0 female coaches.
I was 14. You would have been
12, yeah.
12.
There was 0 female coaches. Like,
Yep.
I actually think back to that time, 2014. I think the first female that I can actually remember coaching was probably Liz. And then after that was probably Beck Chambers. And then after that was probably Shay. And
Yep.
like they've all been around sort of roughly the same time as me, but like maybe started a year or 2 after me. And it was pretty much those 3 for so long, and Chrissy as well. And then now we're seeing like so many more great female coaches coming to the sport, which is awesome. What would you guys say to like a young up and coming female coach? What advice would you give them?
So much. Oh.
I mean, one, just throw yourself in the deep end.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Don't try and feel like you got to have it all like
Figured out
and like mapped out. Like literally just like throw yourself in the deep end. Find someone
I was gonna say get a mentor.
Just find someone that you know, if it's like, will be at that like one competition in particular or just in general, who you can kind of like tag team with. But like, yeah, just don't wait for the right moment with that. You just gotta get in the comp environment. And honestly, I remember for me, the first time that I was in any sort of comp environment, I was like doing maths with the red plates. I don't fucking know how to do this. And now I'm like, oh, easy. And now I can't do maths with the blue plates, you know? So like that would be my first piece of advice, I think, is just deep end it. Like just go for gold.
But also I'd say like don't focus too much on like, you know, the amount of clients you have or making sure, you know, everything is perfect. It's about focusing on giving your clients the best service you can provide for them, whether that be constantly trying to upskill, talking to people with more experience, listening to your clients and programming and being a coach for them in the way that they need. Because the better service you give to your clients, that is what will increase your client base over time. Because if you're doing a good job for them, you're going to keep you're going to have a higher retention rate, but also they're going to tell other people about you because you do a good job. So yeah, I'd say focusing on that.
Definitely fake it till you make it too.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I think those are actually really good advice for anyone, not just females.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think like honestly, fake it till you make it, but a confidence perspective, like people are intimidated by confidence. And if I talk female to male, like men are intimidated by a female that is confident and a female that is like not afraid to take up space or to say what they need to say. Like if you're annoying them, like I'm going to tell you that you're annoying me. Like,
and also
like if I've got a client about to hit their warm up and you want to use the bar, I'm going to tell you no. Like, but like truly, like I think it takes a certain kind of male to not be intimidated by that. And that's either like somebody of I believe like the same level of respect, or a male who is like trying to create change in that space for us female coaches as well.
And if someone has shit to say about that, it's usually just them projecting their own insecurities themselves. Like they don't have the same level of confidence, and so they want to put you down as a result.
Yeah, I think that's the big one is like back yourself in your abilities. Your clients have hired you for a reason because they trust you. So give them what you can. Do the best job that you can with them and more people will come. Fine. I want to close out with this. This might be a harder question to answer, but what advice would you give to the male coaches in the industry to make it a more welcoming environment for female coaches? How can we help you?
I'm at the thing for a few seconds.
I think I think a lot of male coaches in the powerlifting space right now are doing the right things already.
What
Like,
are
I
those?
think,
What are those things?
just including females in all aspects of powerlifting, whether you're, co-handling someone and you're giving, the space for both of you to have a discussion, down to like even socializing, right? Like,
Yeah, just like having conversations at a competition or
yeah,
like just small things like that. Yeah, in that space.
yeah,
Definitely.
and don't talk down to other coaches just because they're female. Like, I don't know if you've had that experience, Shania, but I sure have.
I've had it probably more from like a physical standpoint where like I remember a vivid experience like a male coach was like shocked that I could load the bar. Like he just stood there staring at me as if he was
Do you outscott him?
probably.
Yeah, definitely.
But like he was like coming in and then he was like, oh, like you can. I'm like, it's okay, I can load it. Like it's all good. Like thank you though. But like to me, that's like downgraded. Like it's like diminishing me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not in a wheelchair. Like I'm not incapable of
Hmm.
loading a bar.
Yeah.
So I think just like also just like viewing us as equals.
I was gonna
like,
say,
view
just
us
treat me like a
equals.
man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I am a female. But
Yeah,
like,
you're not gonna hurt my feelings because we're probably not that close to be friends in order for my feelings to be hurt.
exactly.
So
Like,
just treat me like an equal.
yeah, we're tougher than you think.
Yep.
If anything, yeah, treating us that way will make us feel even tougher, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Don't want to feel small or little or
Yeah.
that kind of sums it up, I guess.
Yeah,
Anything to add, Alex?
No, I actually completely agree with that.
Do you feel like there's anything to spin it on you, even though
Yeah.
I'm the guest? But do you feel like there's anything or any of like your particular behaviors or behaviors that you've seen male coaches do that have changed over the years in terms of like inviting or making the space more welcoming for female athletes or coaches? Sorry.
I'm actually not too sure, to be honest. I think like the first thing is the coaches getting into the space and showing that they're capable to do their jobs. And the same thing is true for like a new male coach coming in. I think if you're like an experienced coach and you see someone who doesn't, who's new and doesn't really know what they're doing, like you may want to actually like help them along. And I see that a lot. Like if you see a new male, female, whoever who doesn't really know what they're doing, I think like if you are experienced and you have the time, take them under your wing and help them and give them a bit of advice. And that shouldn't matter female or male. I've definitely noticed an increase in like inclusivity, like you guys said, males and females coaches like hanging out, having chats, just like the bros usually would. And like,
just want to be a bro, man.
and one thing I've actually really noticed, which I love, is, as you alluded to earlier, Claudes, is like a male and a female coach working together, handling the same people.
Yep.
And that's something that I love. It's like, because we have different perspectives and you see things differently to how we do. And I think that actually helps the performance of the athlete. I think that's huge. I don't really want to say I've noticed a whole lot different from like male behavior standpoint, because I don't really pay too much attention to what other people are doing. Like I'm kind of in my own bubble. But it is certainly, the amount of females in the space has certainly grown. And the amount of awesome female coaches that we have, particularly in Australia, I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the world. I see mostly male coaches at international meets.
I don't really see
a lot of females at international meets.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we're doing quite well in Australia. But I think there's obviously room for improvement.
Yeah, I think you just said it before, like where like having a male, female who is like handling or coaching an athlete on the day, like there's different perspectives. And that's the biggest takeaway, is that like just because males and females have different takes on things, we interpret things differently, we might like speak differently, it doesn't make one more alpha or one better than the other. Like when it comes together and ultimately like the client or the athlete is receiving the benefits of that, like that is all that should matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're putting our heads together to try and get the outcome that we both want.
Yep.
Like we're on the same team here.
Yeah.
Claude, you mentioned you had something to say earlier, like you had a question earlier. Do you remember what it was?
Bruh.
She
Or
lost
should
it.
we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Did you write it down? No? Okay, cool. All right, well, thanks everyone for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, all that. Thanks, Shania, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have any closing words?
Nah, I think I said enough on the podcast. I'll hold my tongue.
All right,
Save
talk
us
to you guys
later.
next week.
Yeah.